The definition of motivation is a state that energizes, directs, and sustains behavior. Motivation involves goals and completion of tasks that help develop and strengthen cognitive learning, and is necessary for students to have motivation in the classroom. It determines a child's total functioning and learning environments, and students that are highly motivated perform more efficiently in the classroom and are therefore more successful. There are different forms of motivation that we are going to be talking about in the kindergarten classroom, which are intrinsic and extrinsic, goal theory, and self-efficacy.
The first theory, intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, is a theory that enables students to be successful in the learning process and academic environment. Intrinsic motivation refers to the behavior that is driven by internal rewards. So this form of motivation is basically driven from students' personal interests. So for example, if a student enjoys doing scientific problems, they're going to be more successful and have more intrinsic motivation in a science class as compared to learning about writing essays in an English or history class. And in a specific environment like a kindergarten class, students will participate and cooperate successfully doing fun activities just because of the age range that they're at. 5 to 7-year-olds usually like activities that are more associated with fun things like candy and outdoor activities. So teachers who incorporate candy and outdoor activities into specific problems or lesson plans are more likely to stimulate the kids' intrinsic motivation. And teachers can support the intrinsic motivation by learning the interests of every student and incorporating that into their lessons. And extrinsic motivation refers to the motivation that comes from outside the individual. So the motivating factors are external rewards such as money or grades, and students can also be motivated by avoidance of punishment. So a reward would be money or grades, and the avoidance of punishment would be if they didn't have to take out the trash at home or if they didn't have to complete a homework assignment. The kindergarten environment, teachers can extrinsically motivate students by giving them an end goal or purpose to the problems that they're giving them. So the external reward, for example, could be candy, and the teachers can present that to students as an end goal to the problems that they're solving. And teachers can encourage the kids to complete their work and further the learning process as the students are motivated to receive the candy at the end. And although good grades are a good external motivation that can relate to extrinsic motivation, kindergarten students cannot conceptualize the benefits of good grades and the disadvantages of bad grades. They only know simple external rewards like candy and recess. Also, goal theory is known as a key factor in influencing the level of a student's motivation. This theory was developed by two philosophers, Locke and Latham, and they said that motivational goals needed to have clarity, challenge, commitment, feedback, and complexity, and that goals are necessary to evoke the motivation in students, especially at a young age, because if a student learns to achieve goals and that achieving the goals leads to academic success, they'll carry that with them throughout their whole lives. And goals support learning because it gives the students ambition to complete the tasks and solve the problems. And in a kindergarten setting specifically, ages 5 to 7 are motivated to satisfy and please the teacher rather than just set goals themselves. So the teachers can show excitement when the student completes certain tasks and problems.
Another motivation is self-efficacy, which is the extent or strength of one's belief in their own ability to complete a task and reach a certain goal. It is also the judgment of one's capability to successfully complete a task and ranges differently from one student to the next. High and low self-efficacy determines whether or not a student will choose to take on a challenge or write it off as hard to complete or even impossible. A student's belief regarding his or her power to affect situations strongly influences the power that student has to face those challenges and affects the choices that the student will make. Higher self-efficacy is linked to a better ability to think productively by applying positive thinking skills when facing a challenge, having a higher motivation, and putting in a stronger effort into an activity or a task. Lower self-efficacy is linked to a tendency to shy away from difficult tasks. They'll have lower aspirations and have poor commitments to their goals. A situational example is, suppose that your kindergarten class is working on a science worksheet which has to do with the 5 senses. Since the students have never heard of this, their self-efficacy for this task is undeveloped. After a few minutes of listening and writing, the students find that they are able to fill out the worksheet more easily, and their self-efficacy begins to increase. Many students look over to see that their classmates are also learning and filling out questions to the worksheet, and their self-efficacy increases even more. They're assuming, and if they can do it, I can do it too. The teacher walks by and says, "You can do this," and again, their self-efficacy grows. An important part is that the praise must focus on effort and not ability. A teacher can tell a student that she is confident in the student and that they will finish the science worksheet and have all of the answers correct. Along with this, the teacher can praise them by stating that they're proud of them and that they want to use their good work as an example for the classroom. The teacher should point out the good work by the student and use task-specific praise, repeated praise, and positive feedback every time they are giving feedback. By doing this, the students are building high efficacy as well as building self-esteem. The student believes that they are capable to continue when they are doing well, which is the key to achieving success in the classroom.